Now the next part is to get the interactivity via the button. So what I'm going to do, I'm now going to add a buttons layer. Now if you're in the practice of it, do lock layers because you know that they're fixed or you don't want to mess around with them. So I'm going to do the layer 3, well I'm not going to call it that, I'm going to add buttons. Now of course you'll have lots of other layers within that animation or text going on, and that's where it's easy to manage. Note by default it adds 30 frames to the buttons layer. If it doesn't, don't forget to insert frame to give it that 30 frames because you want the buttons to be in view. But what I'm going to do, or you could add insert keyframe, but the problem with that is the code doesn't work for all of this way, all the 29 frames, but it will work on frame 30 only. So instead, insert frame, which is done by default, and now I'm going to make a button. Now I'm going to just make a simple rectangular button here. And there we are, that's going to be my button. And if we double click on that, I want to first of all get rid of the border. So I'll double click on the border and get rid of that. You don't have to, but I prefer the buttons without borders. So I'm now going to click on and right hand click, convert to symbol, and we're going to make it rooms_BT. Make sure it has under here button. It'll normally will have movie clip by default. Make sure it says button. Mine said button because that's what I've been working with prior to this video. So rooms_BT to say that it's a button, although that's not specifically needed, but no spaces in the names. Make sure it's a button and let's click OK. So it's now made it as a button. No real changes to it, but if I double click on it, unlike the movie clips, I don't get a full timeline. For buttons, I just get what's called an up state. It's just under there. It says over, down and hit. So what I'm going to do in the up state, I'm going to change its colour, but I will, in this particular case, I'm going to have the button in blue. I'm going to get right hand click, give it a keyframe for over state. Now for over, I'm going to change that to maybe a lighter colour. Let's see, something like that there. And then in its down state, insert keyframe. Now for down, all I'm going to use, you'll hear the tap. 2 down, 2 to the right. Well, I'm quite happy with that. It'll look like the button is moving in 3 dimensions. The hit state is the area that you want to be active as the button. Well, if I insert keyframe, it is that area. But if you want it to be some larger than that, then you can add another shape there to say that that's going to be the hit area. Hit areas are useful for when we want transparent buttons, maybe over a map area, and we make the hit area the shape maybe of a country, and they can move and click on certain areas, but that's for a later point. So I've done the up, over and down state. Let's go back to home and let's go and have a look to see what that button looks like. Let's go to test. So there it is, over, so it goes lighter, and then down, makes it look as though it's pressed. Click, 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 and so on. Oh, I wanted to also say, just have a note, it's there in my library, rooms_BT. So you may end up making this button many, many times. You can drag onto the timeline then as many times as you want. Or you may want other buttons for restaurant BT, leisure facilities BT, swimming pool BT, etc.